Okay, there are our 6 functions. And as we are looking at the text in Matthew 6:31, we see here the words me un meramnesete legontes. Un is a post-positive conjunction that means therefore. What did we say a post-positive conjunction is? A word which never occurs first. Post-positive. Though in English we will put it first. And the conjunction un means therefore. So just pretend that word isn't there for just a moment, and we see the 2 words me and meramnesete together. Here we have the negative me and an aorist subjunctive. Now let's look through our subjunctive functions and see which one that might be. Well, it's not deliberative. We're not asking a question of great doubt or concern. It's not exhortation, let us do something. But it may be prohibition, where we have the negative may and an aorist subjunctive. Do not do something, a negative command. And that, in fact, is the subjunctive function of this verb, meramnesete, where Jesus is saying, therefore, do not be anxious. And it has the same force as a command, as an imperative. Do not be anxious. And the participle here, and we'll learn more about participles later, the participle here is translated saying. Just to give you the idea of the force of this command, I'd like to ask you some questions. Now, you don't need to answer these questions out loud, just answer to yourself. How many of you have ever lied? How many of you have ever coveted someone else's property? How many of you have ever stolen something? How many of you have ever committed adultery? How many of you have ever murdered? Or how many of you have never or have ever not honored your father and your mother? Well, we certainly know that these are commandments that we are to abide by. But let me ask you this question, and this time I want you to answer out loud by raising your hand. How many of you worry? Well, I'm in that same boat too. I worry a lot. And yet the force of this command here in Matthew 6:31, this prohibitive subjunctive here, is just as strong a command as any other. Do not worry. Do not be anxious, saying. And let's see now what the questions are that Jesus is going to show as an example of what we might be saying.